am here and we are going to discuss the first quarter and content that I've already put up. Um, we're going to discuss, we have the Saturn and Aries and Neptune in Aries. And most of the people that would be making changes this quarter and for like the next decade are millennials and um, pre-Gen Z. But I wanted to discuss a couple of things and kind of highlight some points and concepts that we should all focus on this quarter. So let's start off with um, your rising sign. And I'm not going to go through each rising sign, but we're going to start with the modalities. And if you have a cardinal modality, you are going to be with the people that are going through their Saturn return. And the fact that we have the first and the seventh house as the access that we're dealing with the first house, because we have Libra, we have Taurus, we have Venus, we have Aries, Mars, and Scorpio. So those energies are going to be wrapped up in the essence of someone's Saturn return. So we're working on the character building when we work through the um, hidden dialogues. The imprint itself is what is in your birth chart. So your rising sign is going to be your aura. So when people first see you, we have the first impression. We have aspects that we want to embody. And with your rising sign, you have to figure out who you are in this season or the phase of your journey. So if you're already working on something, that's what I'm hoping you're already doing. But if you are currently working on something, you have to figure out if you're the curator right now, you are the inventor, you are the catalyst or the producer. What form of archetype are you offering to yourself? Are you working on your internal process? We should all be working on our ecosystem at this very moment. But if you're not, you're ahead of the game, because in February we are dealing with the foundation. February births Aries. I mean, it births Aquarius and Pisces for the zodiac signs that it works with. So that means that we're dealing with the collective, we're dealing with internal healing, and we're working on dissolving the archetype that we embodied through this collective for the past few years. So as we are actually, I think I want to change this. I'm just going to do it on camera. Sorry for the wait, but I think I'm going to change this. My hands can be free, but I think I want to use my mic instead. I didn't even think about it, but it could be also simple. But you always got to do interventions with the shit. So I'm going to just say, like, ooh, this might be a little tough, but we're going to keep it going. All right. If it falls, that means it's cue to get off. I'm just going to say it. So hopefully it's on, and I'm just going to slightly move this over. Hopefully don't mess up. But I wanted to start off with understanding that your aura is going to help you through this aspect. And the part about Saturn that I'm starting to notice within looking at the actual aspect of the zodiac wheel, you are going to have to focus on your professionalism, your reputation, and the person that you want to become. And that is a refinement process. Somebody also said recently on TikTok that if you are building a business is not for everyone, mainly because you have to be you have to wear many hats. And if that's not what you're currently at this phase of your journey, it's okay. Because cardinal energy is the people who start and kick things off. So if you're the type of person that is like, okay, if you're in a group of people and you say to yourself, no, you're in a group of people and someone is presenting an option or an opportunity. Between the people that are around you and you are cardinal energy, you're likely to move first. You're likely to hop on the opportunity. You're likely to be a little bit more engage with the opportunity. You might be the person that's actually wondering what part of your journey is this going to be able to benefit you. As we're going through this Saturn and Aries and we're building the type of things that we want to execute, you're going to have to be the person to look at your resources. You're going to have to look at see what part of your resources are going to help you in this phase of your journey. So as we work through this, I wanted to highlight the figure that we're working with. Although we're using the 12 zodiac signs, we're going to elevate our look about how to utilize the zodiac wheel. Okay. So I'm going to show you a figure first and then give you some explanation. So right here, good, we have enough space. So right here is the dodecahedron. This is good, like looking at the Merkaba. If you look into quantum physics and you look at the whole purpose of a 12-sided figure, we have every portion of that figure, every face of that figure has a representation. So we have all 12 houses. The middle of each one of these are going to represent the top or the bottom of the dodecahedron. So I have each one of the houses representing the zodiac sign, the element of that zodiac sign. I mean, sorry, not the element, the name of the zodiac sign and the modality. We all know the elements and what they represent, right? So each one of these houses is going to represent something that you're going to use, but utilizing this figure and seeing what two houses keep the actual figure together is the second house and the sixth house. And the second house is ruled by your self worth and what you believe you are able to possess. This is your self worth, your resources, your value. And how you can generate your own opportunities. The sixth house is how you like your operating system. This is the type of ecosystem that you build. So once people are able to give you feedback on your customer service, your interaction with them, or you're giving a presentation and how you prepare for that, that is what people are commenting on when they say, "Oh, I admire you. I admire the things that you do. I like what you offer. I like what you have to say." This is your point of view. And this is kind of how we navigate through reality when it comes to understanding your placements, because your sixth house is represented by Virgo energy. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is also co-ruled by Gemini. So with those two, you have to understand that the way you articulate yourself about your values, as well as what you have to offer and how you operate through your system, is going to show what you value, what you prioritize, and how you prioritize what you're using is beneficial to your experience. So as we work through Saturn energy, we are building our network as we go. So knowing that Saturn is pretty much has to do with limitations, right? When it comes to the Aries energy and building along those limitations, I feel as though we are working with partnership. It's sad, but we're working with partnership. How you and the thing you're trying to pursue engage with each other. And if it's not progressive, Saturn is going to stop it. And that part in that area of your life that you are working with, that is trying to evolve and you're interacting, engaging with it, you have to find multiple ways to engage with what you're working with so you have multiple outcomes. That's how that's how you prepare to approach stagnant energy. You have to prepare, and the preparation, everything matters. So I kind of put it on my Facebook, but we have a book and it's also in my link tree about tiny projects. And I read the PDF a little while before purchasing the actual book, but you have to understand that, like, when you work through a project or you set up an experiment, you have to assign multiple aspects to process the process itself so that you know exactly what you are offering through the offer that you're having. So experimentation, trial runs, everything needs to have a report, feedback, and see what was its downfall. So I always say you never, well, I can't even say I always say because I don't want to take credit for it. But if you are the type of person that knows the value behind what I'm about to say, then you'll be able to understand that failure is subjective. And the way you think about failure is going to hinder you or prosper, honest to God. So when you are building anything, multiple outcomes is going to give you more information. right? So if you have something that you want to research, you have to understand what part of life that thing that you're researching affects. The impact is your information. So if it has a small impact, intermediate, I think it is, but it's like the middle level before advanced, and that advanced impact is what you're going for. That's the ultimate goal. We want to make a huge impact. Usually, our downfall is not knowing who we're working with, who we're trying to help, and what experience that person is going to go through with what you're offering. That is the downfall when you have an impact that is not so good. So you have to build that in the preparation system. The system that you build in that beginning stage is who you show up: a curator, an inventor, a producer, or a catalyst in that phase. Every preparation season looks different, and you need to know what worked in the beginning may work 3, 4 tries down the line. So let me get my water now. I already felt it, but you want to work with your rising sign to progress through this process. So let's just look at the first house since we're dealing with Aries energy. So the first house is on the expressive side of the figure. So we have Aries. Let me just make sure. Yes, we have Aries, Mars, and it's a cardinal sign. So as we said, Saturn is going to show you that every time you build a portion of your identity and you feel secure, somehow, some way, you are going to be challenged. And that's the point of the transit. I never really looked at transits like that until I kind of like started reevaluating what is going to likely appear along our journey. And as I was saying that, you have to use your rising sign. And the next thing that I want to talk about after you use your rising sign is your Mercury placement. And as you are utilizing these placements, you're going to have a task that you're setting yourself up with, and you know how you maneuver through these things. You have to find out what is a requirement for the process and the timeline that you're about to embark on. So a lot of the things that you might come up with are going to look like they're chaotic, they're out of alignment, you're not sure if this is going to work, but that's the whole process of experimentation. So you want to understand that what you're offering to anybody, whether it's content, a service, or information, most of the time is educational because people need to know what they're doing before they start doing it. So you take all of the information that you build in your first phase and teach it to people. That is your offer. So before you have a physical product, you need to know what your customer or your consumer is going to experience while they're dealing with your service or what you're offering. So after you go to your Mercury placement, you want to use your Mars placement. Your Mars placement is going to help you understand exactly how you operate through your trial runs. So in the book, I was listening to a part that kind of helped us. I can't even say listening, reading through a part that was helping us understand the depth of never giving up, right? So you have to set a deadline. And the deadline itself is going to be something that you actually know you can maintain. I wouldn't say a long duration because you want to have something that you're constantly working on. So it's a part of your day. That's why it's very beneficial to use your birth chart to help you do something that's already in alignment with what you're trying to do. So when you make the decision, it's not choosing one thing over the other throughout your day. It's supposed to be a continuation. So that's why I said success is subjective. What you consider success to be should also be including small wins. Small wins looks like gathering more information about a topic that you're willing to teach every day. And if you don't do that, that would benefit you in seeing how much success you actually accomplished. I'm just trying to give you perspective. So after you utilize your Mars placement, you want to look at your midheaven, which is your MC. That's the highest part of your birth chart. And as you are building this portion of yourself, you want to know your reputation is on the line. So as you are building who you are and why you want to pursue this opportunity, this position, or this achievement, you want to have ambition. Now, I did speak about this, but on the last video, it was a little choppy and the service was bad, but we're going to continue. Um, uh, what did I just say? Um, Oh, yeah, success and ambition. So when you are working with ambition, I was given an example of a personal experience for myself that in my 20s, I am no longer in my 20s, thank God, but whatever. Um, when you are working through your ambition, you have to understand if you're an ambitious person or you're just goal oriented. I did not know I was just ambitious. I did not have a goal. I was just trying things out. So now I know that whatever I tried in the past, I know why I don't want to do it. I know why, or I should say, I know what the amount of effort that I would have to give. I'm not really willing to give. It's not in alignment with my ultimate goal. So that's how I had to understand and eat that I am not a goal oriented person. I was not goal oriented. I wasn't executing any milestones. I was just accomplishing things with no direction. So when you have a little bit more of an authentic path, it means that you have dissected who you want to become. And then you set your goals according to that goal. So that means that you're actively working on that milestone on a daily basis. So everything that you achieve is in alignment to at least one portion of your journey to accomplishing that goal. So as you work through your rising sign, your Mercury placement, your Mars placement, and your midheaven, you have to connect to your inner child. And that's where I am. This is the beginning stages of the hidden dialogue and understanding and connecting to your inner child. Your inner child is going to help you get started. You have to become a character because your inner child always wanted to be somebody. We all got the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And how do you want to execute things? What does success look like to you? And how do you embody this archetype? We're going to be utilizing our lived experiences. And the only way you can understand that is to use your birth chart. And most of the time, we're not trying to predict things. We're trying to align our character to the experience we wish to actually live, you know? So give me a second. So in the Imprinted Empire, I've put together a mental rehearsal phase of any of your journeys. So once you find out the project that you want to work on this season, or this quarter or the month or what you're preparing to do for another quarter, I like to use every quarter for a purpose. Every month in the quarter is going to help you evolve along the journey that you're wishing to embark on. So with Aries and Saturn and Aries, you're going to be utilizing I want to move, but I have to have a strategic plan to execute my goal. And this is the part about being flexible along this journey because you cannot predict an outcome and try to align the process to only achieve the outcome that you've predicted. That's one thing that I notice along this shadow work journey is that you cannot maneuver the path to be the outcome that you have. You have to let it be what it's going to be to take back actual feedback. So you can't force the process to be an outcome that you've only predicted. That's manipulation. Now, the only thing that I think should be manipulated is making a decision to do something that is in alignment with what isn't working anymore. That's the only time I think I support manipulation in your progression towards your goals. You have to be the person that is using logical feedback to make the decision instead of manipulating it to come out to one outcome that is not progressive. So I always wanted to make that a point. So as I looked at this figure, we have a 12-sided figure that is going to help us understand exactly what part of our emotional experiences that are going to help us connect with the experience that we want to achieve. So when they say in quantum physics, or you're talking about mindfulness, you're talking about therapy work, this is a highlight of your inner child, is your moon sign. So I am a Pisces moon in sidereal astrology. I am an Aries moon in tropical astrology. So with that being said, there is a portion of your moon element that is going to help you connect to your goals and what's going to make you remember your why. So in one of my TikTok videos that I just posted, you have to have a mission statement, you have to have pillars, and you have to have a philosophy in order for your ecosystem to be standard. Your ecosystem is going to be constantly in refinement. So you don't have uh, a steady framework all the time. It's going to always be added on to with feedback. It's always going to be refined with new information. You're always going to have new analytics and metrics that are going to help you navigate what your audience is looking for. So we have social media to help us with that. Most of our business accounts are going to help us understand exactly what portion of our community is needing help in certain places. Excuse me. So, as you know, the dodecahedron is supposed to kind of reference the Merkaba, because if you add stars to each side of the 12-sided figure, it will look like the spiky sided figure that is just it just tumbles. So think of a tumbleweed, like where you're just going where the wind flows you. That is you on autopilot when you're not participating, when you're not co-creating. This aspect of yourself needs to evolve past where you think you want to be. You have to know what you want, understand that your resources are going to support you. And then when you have and approach obstacles and challenges, you'll see what needs to be what needs to be strengthened along this process. So that's where you designate your task to strengthen that area so you can proceed along your journey. So, looking at this figure, I said to myself, there's a 12, and again, there's more zodiac signs to your chart. I mean, there's more placements to your chart than the 10 or 12 that you see. Now we have, I think because I have my book open, I'm going to go. I'm not going to cozy guess. I did say I was going to do that if it fell, but we're good. I did say I was going to do that if it fell. I don't want to get off yet, but I'm not. I don't have this very secure. But let me see if I could put something here. Um, I'm gonna go to the gauge because I know what I want to do. Let's see if I use this one. Hey, whoever's in here, I've never seen you, but hey, I hope that you would love to interact. But this is for everybody, so I won't force you to interact. But hey, all right. Let's see if this will just give me what I'm looking for. I'm not trying to do too much. Now my thing is all messed up. All right. So I want to get this part of it done, but we're going to utilize this for good use. So I said we have more placements than the 12 that we have shown up. So overall, I don't want to be the person that's not going to keep talking, but overall, we have like a lot of placements, like a lot. So I want to just say that I have some of them shown up that I want to talk about, and then I'm going to find it first, and then I'm going to talk about it. So, this. Mm, okay, let's look at this one. So I believe this one is called Phenonia, and it's Feronia, and it's number 72. Now, when I look at zodiac wheels and we have keywords in astrology and we have numbers that represent it, and I said it was 72. 7 plus 2 equals 9. 9 is the ninth house. So that deals with Sagittarius and Jupiter energy. Jupiter also is co-ruled with Pisces, but we're just going to focus on Sagittarius right now. So the key words for that placement, and that could just be an asteroid that we have a part of our birth chart. So let's just say this is an asteroid, right? And it represents the themes of liberation, self-reliance, and deep connection to the earth and nature. So let's say that we're utilizing that actual asteroid as your focus for what is going to build you along your journey. So when you approach obstacles that challenge your liberation, your freedom, your self-reliance, now you know whatever that placement in, like that placement, that asteroid has a degree, a zodiac sign, a planet that rules that zodiac sign, and then you have the house that it's in. So all those aspects, concepts, and definitions are going to help you understand where your zodiac plays a part in limiting your self-reliance, freedom, and liberation. Thank you. So I have my watch just going off and it just comes on at the right time. But with that being said, that is a part of this figure where you have multiple areas. Let me put on a side. Sugar honey iced tea. I'm gonna try to do this here. So you have um multiple houses that are gonna give you a part where that actual placement, the asteroid that we just said that represents self-reliance and liberation, is going to be in one of those houses, and it's going to be supported by other placements where now other placements next to it, which is considered a stellium if it's more than three, but if it's next to it, that's considered a conjunction where they're now right beside each other. So it's a combination of energy. So when you look at astrology, it's going to be so deep and there's so many hidden conversations that are affecting these aspects of your world. So when I say the beginning phases of your journey is the preparation, this is what helps you commit to your why statement, which is your mission, your values, what you prioritize, and what you use as your philosophy for your ecosystem. So your aura is your rising sign is going to help you navigate this journey. This is going to help you improve. And if you pay attention to this portion of shadow work, is going to help you understand how to navigate your reality in an authentic way. Now, I heard I heard on TikTok that there's people saying that um what is it called? You have to there's a way that you navigate this, but if you don't allow your inner world to flourish, you'll be just as good as somebody just trying. There was people that said you can't have wishers in your group or your community, mainly because you will always remain a wisher. I wish this could happen for me. I wish. You have to be somebody who is an action oriented person. So when you are proactive, that is where Aries energy is utilized effectively. So you are in alignment with your goals. Reasons why this portion of your journey needs to be rooted in your authentic energy. They were saying that authenticity is now being overused. So let's talk about unconscious agreements. So due to our experiences that lead us into, I don't want to keep this so high, but it probably should be, utilizing our energy to understand that our inner child needs to be in this co-creation as well, is because we know what we aren't being provided with. So you want to offer things to society that would help you gravitate towards your community. So if your community is art, your community is photography, your community is food, your community is technology, you want to know that whatever you're offering is going to be something beneficial to the experience that somebody is having utilizing things within your industry and your community. So you don't want to be out of alignment and say, like, I'm trying to have something work. You want to utilize things that are already in alignment with you so that your co-creating is effective and proactive. So, um, like I said, we used an asteroid to give you some intel or detail to the story that you're having that would affect your liberation, your self-reliance and freedom. And you have to have that align with your connection to the earth in nature. That was that placement's definition, right? So with that being said, we have a degree, we have a zodiac sign that represents the perspective that we have from that placement. So let's say that placement that represents liberation and self-reliance is in Aries, right? You just so happen to have a asteroid in Aries with that definition. So you're going to be reacting to life in a Aries way, which is going to represent the self, liberation, and self-reliance. So your self-reliance will kind of probably show up as combative and somebody challenging you. However, that's not the only thing, but that is what Aries faces is war, combative energy. So that alone is going to show you that you may face challenges within self-reliance and a sense of war or combat, which then relates back to the sign before it, which is Pisces energy. You know what you dealt with before, you know what you experienced before, you have the feedback from that experience before. So now that you have that information that can help you build the next decisions that you have along your journey. So when you're not worried about the combative energy, you are already planning how to execute that through the energy that is already provided. Your degree, the zodiac sign, the planet, the house, and all the things that are around it, meaning all of the placements that surround that area, is going to help you navigate the hidden dialogue that is happening when you are experiencing something challenging your self-reliance and liberation. So, as I said, this is something very complex, but this is things that is going to help you not stop before you've gotten all the information, which in the Tiny Projects book, she was saying that most of us stop so early along our journey because we believe that whatever we're experiencing isn't working up to its fullest capability, or we don't think that it's going to work. And that is what I meant by being a little bit more flexible along the journey of experimentation, because you need to know why it's not going to work before you cut it off and say that it's just not going to work. So you want to make sure that you stay and you stick to the duration that you've set for it. So the deadline of your project, and you want to be practical with that. You want to be realistic. Like, how many tries or experimental phases do you need to take as like authentic and real, accurate information that, like, if you have challenges that approach this portion of your experimentation, because this is your feedback, you will then know what that looks like in the future. You can base your previous knowledge on the new knowledge that you have in order for you to make decisions that are a little bit more effective. So I used this figure to help me expand my peripheral of astrology. And that's the way I feel I can connect more to my work, instead of just looking at the circle and saying, like, oh, this aspect helps you here. I needed a little bit more of a challenge so that I can see a little bit differently about astrology, which now has me a little, I would say, like, this is the ecosystem that I'm using, and the skill set is to innovate from what I've already been presented with. So embodiment is another phase of the journey, because you have to walk through the first 8 houses of the zodiac wheel in order for you to understand the ninth house, which is the expansion of knowledge, which is enlightenment. So the 8th house is represented by Scorpio energy, Pluto energy, and you want to make sure that this is um a shedding process, which it requires water. So that means sweating, crying, and working out. You have to be the person that is proactive along the shadow work journey, because water flows. And if it's not a flow, it's stagnant energy. And that alone is not, I feel like you could burn yourself out being proactive. But what I also call um, procrastination is the spiritual connection to your journey. In your procrastination, you should be justifying why you should make the decision to move and why you shouldn't. And if you do, potentially building outcomes that you believe are likely to occur. And that's the only way I feel that it's been effective to mentally rehearse through anything. So I've put mentally rehearsing in the process of building in the Imprinted Empire. So along your journey, you have to improvise, but that is the key. Like your key to your journey in general in this portion of mentally rehearsing is to improvise. You have to know that what your ultimate goal is has it trickles down to so many different variations of your journey. So you will be able to provide offers to every person along that journey, and you can know what part you're willing to give effort to and what part you're willing to prioritize. Mainly because as a collective, we're all building. So there's always somebody that's going to fill in the part that you didn't pick. That's the only thing that it doesn't make it worthy to say it's saturated. Because if you are working on your specialty according to your mission, you will be very niche in your community. And that is what helps because you're doing something that other people aren't doing. So I hope that works because that's what I was trying to get at. But there's so many different aspects that lead you to that perspective. And that's where I tried to get. So hopefully I'm sending you off really good because Saturn in Aries is going to have us wanting to improvise in inspiration a little bit more than like just a regular everyday. And I think that's what's most effective. So, building character in this season is going to be what makes people a little bit more impulsive because they may be straying from their current timeline. So the X paradigm is considered to be your current paradigm, and the Y paradigm is the one um, uh, goal-oriented timeline that you are looking to achieve. Yeah. So the 3M theory, I just want to put it in one video. The 3M theory is a portion of the imprinted empire that is represented by your Mercury placement being the number 0, your moon placement being the number 1, your Mars placement being the number 2, and your midheaven MC being the number 3. So I have a 4-sided kind of diagram, even though in my head that's not what's on the dodecahedron. But in order to have something solid in this realm, because we're creating in this realm, things are brought into 4 sides. So the 0 would be a box that is bigger than the other 3 because your Mercury placement shows you how you think, communicate, and interpret your reality. So as you're building these concepts through your birth chart, you find out the degree, the zodiac sign, the element, the modality, and where it's placed. You now know the hidden dialogues that are happening around and what portion of your subconscious is attacked by the thoughts when you are challenged. This is the depth of shadow work that helps you understand why your why plate, like your why and your whole purpose of being ambitious is so necessary and it needs to be rooted in your emotions. So I think I've spoken enough, but I think this is where we're going to stop because I don't know what else I would say without specifically talking to specific zodiac signs according to your rising placement. So I hope that this was a lot more educational and informal to what the imprinted empire is. But if you are here, welcome, and I'll see you next time.